Welcome everyone to the Circle of Debate podcast. The host of the previous one, Ivan C, here alongside with my brothers, La Familia, the faction, the West Story, the West, with El Director, the one and only CK1 Chris Kennedy, and also Mr. MGC Matthew Steamboat, ladies and gentlemen. And today we are joined by an honorary guest, and I'm very happy to have him on the show because he is the star in the making, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, he is your first global Syndicate Wrestling Next Gen Champion, ladies and gentlemen, Gio Galvano. How are you, Gio?
Ivan, what's going on, man? Appreciate the intro there. Yeah, it's everything's good, man. Life's good. How's the weather over there in California, guys?
It was
little
raining
chilly
last night, and now it's sunny.
A little chilly.
Okay, a little chilly, so you got a little taste of New York. Today was 50 degrees over here in New York.
I got my scarf
Is that a
on.
summer or a winter for you?
I'm enjoying the rise in temperature. We're getting there. We're just rounding the corner of winter, and yeah, it feels good. Yeah, great.
It snowed in some areas of LA for the first time in like 50 years. Like, and I mean, like LA, not like we have San Bernardino, which is like 40 miles out, where it's like mountains and it snows like regularly. But I mean, in like LA proper, and it was pretty weird. Yeah.
Was that this week? That was this week.
That was like last week. Yeah,
That was last week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hail, we had hail. I had hail like in the middle of the valley, like where Clueless was filmed. Like, it's insane.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. But also wanted to say congratulations of winning your first championship. We did see the pay-per-view. Obviously, we did. Not sure you saw the previous interview we had with Brandon Ascari. And, we mentioned it, we mentioned it. We were really happy, and I was really happy for you, especially, well-deserved for you as well. We did see that battle royal when you won it, and also we did see you in that triple threat. But once again, congratulations. But we'll touch into that, later on throughout, as we're getting to the show. Before anything, I wanted to go ahead and ask. I want to start it off. I know it's a redundant question to always ask, but our viewers and subscribers would love to know, and we would love to know, especially,
Definitely.
how did the journey begin for Gio Galvano?
In pro wrestling. Oh man. So I'm taking you guys back. I was 8 years old, taking you back to the days of video stores. Okay. And me and my brother were big into the PlayStation 2 at the time, and we didn't have a fighting game. So we asked our mom if we can go to the video store and rent a fighting game. So we get there, we're scouring the shelves, and we see WWF SmackDown Just Bring It, The Rock on the cover. And we're looking at it. We turn, you got to get this. We get it. We go home, and I still remember to this day who we chose. I chose Prince Albert as my first guy, and my brother Vincenzo chose Triple H. And we loved it. We were playing the game, right? And then later that week, we're flipping through the channels, and WWE SmackDown's on. We see Kurt Angle. Like, oh my God, these are the guys from the game, from Just Bring It. So from that moment on, we were hooked. We just fell in love with wrestling.
That is so backwards, but I love it. That's a very original avenue you took. I had the same thing. It's a very short sentence, but I played the GoldenEye video game for the N64, and I played the shit out of that game before I ever saw the movie. So then when I watched the movie, I'm like, oh, there's that level from the game. Oh, there's that guy from the game. And I'm like, wait, no, this shit's backwards. The game was based on these locations, but you did the same thing. Did you have any idea it was a wrestling game, or just looked like a fighting game?
No, fighting. That's the thing. Exactly.
Right, you had no idea. Awesome.
Usually people, and I've had other people tell me this in the past, usually people, they watch it, then they buy the game. No, it was backwards with us. And we didn't know what pro wrestling really was. But yeah, we're just playing the game. We're into it. And then once we started watching it on TV, that's when we were just emotionally hooked and everything.
Right. That's crazy, man. Did you guys still take Triple H and Prince Albert after you saw them live? Were you like, always going to be Prince Albert after I saw what I just saw? Or you're like, nah, I'm going to move on to Kurt Angle?
Yeah. At that point, then we were getting to know everyone. Yeah, we're getting to know
cool.
It was fun. But I mean, it's not like back then. It was maybe 30 guys to choose from. Not like now where you could choose hundreds of different characters.
Yeah. I always created my own wrestler. That was my jam. I created a wrestler in every wrestling game since you could do it back in I think WCW versus NWO World Tour, which is a very early, before your time, style game. So you, with your brother, got into wrestling that way, but you stuck with actually becoming a wrestler, or did he try to pursue that same path, or was there split at some point where you went wrestling and he went like accounting or something?
No, well, the thing was, we're a big soccer family, with the Italian background and everything. Like, we grew up watching the sport, and even though I was obsessed with wrestling throughout elementary school and middle school, by the time high school came around, soccer was my life, and so, I mean, I was devoted in everything.
What was your position in soccer?
I was at MGC. I was in a nice attacking midfield or striker.
Ooh.
I was
They made me a forward, and I just picked the grass. Whenever I'm like, why would you make me forward?
You gotta be fast, or you gotta be strong, one of the two. But no, but yeah. So soccer was me. I have another younger brother, Francesco, who we all grew up in the same house, and we were always on the field. So what happened was, then I graduated high school, and I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to keep playing, and I wanted to go to Europe. And thankfully, I had the opportunity to actually play in Europe for a year. I played in Italy. Yeah, I played some pro soccer. So, so I chased that dream for a little while, and it was great experience, incredible experience. But it got to the point where I missed home, missed the States, missed my family. And honestly, I knew in the back of my mind and in my heart, I knew that wrestling was something that was a dream that I needed to sink my teeth into and to go after. So that was definitely, when I came home from Italy, I knew it was going to happen at some point. I was like, I'm going to step in the ring for sure.
Was that a conversation you had to like sit your parents down with? Was there an expectation for you to pursue soccer? Was it a family heritage thing and you're like breaking from that, or were they totally easy with any decision you made?
Chris, interesting you asked, because I love my father to death, but he when I told him that I was going to train as a pro wrestler, he said, all right, if you're going to do that, then you got to get out of the house. You're not living under my roof if you're going to do pro wrestling. So I was kicked out of the house when I started pro wrestling. And I had a girlfriend at the time, so I moved in with her. And I started training over at Team 3D Academy in Connecticut with Bully Ray. And then that's when my career started. So, but there was so yeah, you bring in the family into the mix. It was a couple months that I was training at the school, and my father and I, we reconciled, and we're on good terms again. But yeah,
very dirty dancing.
Yeah, it was
Dirty
interesting.
dancing.
Because it definitely, I think if you don't expect your child to go after pro wrestling and then one day they're doing it, it's definitely. So, but it didn't matter. What mattered to me was that I was going to do it, and that was it.
Definitely.
Do they flip through channels or YouTube or whatever content you have now, and they're like, "That's my boy." Like, I mean, obviously you've reconciled whatever issues there were with your decision to go with that career. But do they watch your matches, or are they just kind of like, just do whatever you want, and then just come home for dinner whenever you want? Or are they fans?
Well, my father, he's not a fan, but he'll. It's funny, like, if he knows I'll tell him if a big show's coming up, and the way he is, he'll just whip up like a big meal, and he'll be like, "Here you go." And
You
then,
must have got like a gigantic meal for that title win. Then, Jesus.
Oh yeah, that was. I had a lot of pasta before that show. That's for sure.
Oh, nice.
My mom, she's into it. She cringes sometimes with the bumps I take and all that, but she's supporting it. I have an older half brother who he's obsessed with wrestling, and he has a son, my nephew, who's super obsessed. And so I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I have a great support system and a lot of love in my life. So it's been great. And they see that I'm happy doing it. So I think when they see that I'm happy and I'm doing well, then people hop on board, you know?
Yeah.
How was Bully Ray as a teacher? Like how you know?
Yeah, was he your first teacher? Like you just walked up and found out, like you paid the tryout admission, whatever they had. Your first coach was Bully Ray?
Yeah, I did. That was my first ever experience in the world of pro wrestling. Was at his school. Showed up, had an interview with him, told him my background, my story, and very blessed that he gave me the opportunity to train at his school, and I wouldn't want to train anywhere else. I'm so blessed to be at that school. I still go to training every week, and it's the best education I could ask for in this industry.
Definitely. But yeah, so overall, like, how was the training out there? And I mean, was he the only like head trainer? Did he had other ones as well, or any other guests that he came in, like maybe the Tommy Dreamer? Because I know he runs.
Tommy Dreamer, he's been big in my journey. He's been a big factor, and he's been a great teacher as well. They have different styles. The phrase that we use at school is different flavors of ice cream. So everyone's got their own flavor, which is something that you start to see pretty quickly. Like, oh snap! Like, this person's telling me to do this. This person's telling me to do this. And you got to figure out what works for you. But yeah, definitely intense. There's another trainer at the school. It's actually his gym that the ring is at. His name is Randy Shawn, and he's worked the independent circuit. He worked under Jay Busta for many years on the independent circuit. He's a tremendous worker and tremendous teacher and mentor. And so those are the main three right there that really have molded my education in the business.
And what year was this when you started?
This was 2017.
2017. Okay. And then from there, do you recall your first match? Was it a singles or was it a tag? Can you reflect?
Oh yeah, my first match. So Tommy Dreamer, this is back when he was running more frequently with House of Hardcore. Me and hashtag MCM Mucho Chris Moljo and Randy, who I just mentioned earlier, we hopped in the car and we drove all the way up to Canada just to help out. We were just looking to help out. Randy was working on the show. He was part of the squad, the Spirit Squad. But me and Chris were just looking to help out, set up the ring, be around it and just get more experience. And we show up to the venue. It was in Napanee, Ontario, Canada. We show up. It's a hockey arena, and Tommy's over there. Tommy Dreamer's over there signing autographs, and me and Chris go over to shake his hand, and he sees us. He's like, "Whoa, I didn't know you guys were going to be here. You guys have your gear? Yeah. Great, you're on first. Welcome to Canada."
Always have your gear. It sounds like
yeah, always. And that's another phrase that we use: be prepared for anything. Part of that, Chris, yeah, exactly, is having your gear always. So yeah, so that was my first match, and it's the funniest part about it is I didn't know I was going to wrestle, so I wasn't even tan, and I was whiter than Sheamus when I came.
And that's freaking white if you're in Canada too, because that's their standards.
So at that
a little less.
What's up?
Oh, I was saying like you're in Canada already, so it's gonna be hard to just go outside and tan up naturally.
Oh, yeah. It was June, but it wasn't like the heat of summer yet, so I wasn't out pool or on the beach yet. It was like early June. It was the first day of June actually. I remember June 1st, and 2018. And so Chris and I opened the show. We had a solid opener. A couple mistakes here and there, but really what an experience, and the crowd was into it, and it was a day I'll never forget. Definitely, like just being in that ring and feel, like I said, first time in front of a crowd, feeling that energy. It was a feeling. It was like a welcoming initiation to the business. Like, wow, the dream is real. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm glad. I'm pretty sure, like, once it was, behind the curtains, a little nervous. Once he came out, everything just went away, and everything you just indulged in, chilled in, and just, oh man, I'm so happy for that for you. And then after that, I know you started beginning now working with other promotions throughout the year later on. I believe you just started off was, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure later on, maybe you started working for Invictus, you started working for Northeast Wrestling, and other promotions. How's the environment of those different promotions? And before the pandemic, how was it, performing in those promotions, and how was the chemistry with everyone over there?
It's funny because you said before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I was really just working with House of Hardcore, and then it's funny because I've been blessed during the pandemic. I've had a lot of opportunities come my way, and thankfully the pro wrestling industry has continued to thrive and find new ways to adapt in the pandemic. And I've got to work with all these promotions since the pandemic, which is crazy. So Invictus Pro Wrestling, they had their first show back in September, and that was awesome. I got to work with Northeast, and got a lot of good stuff coming up with them as well. Very exciting. And of course Global Syndicate Wrestling, which we all know here on the Circle of Debate. And that's another promotion like Invictus that started during the pandemic, which who would have thought? And I got to get my feet wet with Impact Wrestling in October.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm super blessed, and it's been awesome.
How was the chemistry back there? I know you wrestled against Johnny Swinger at Explosion, right?
Yeah. Real veteran, and real pleasure to work with. And the vibes, I'm telling you right now, the vibes at that Impact locker room, they're awesome.
Is Johnny as funny in real life as he is, in kayfabe?
I mean, it's not like he's going around the back. What's up, Daddy? He's not doing that. You can tell, he definitely commands a presence, and it's funny because when Tommy was there that weekend, obviously, and Tommy came over to me and he just wanted to say that he thought it was really cool that my first, nationally televised match was with an ECW guy like Johnny Swinger.
Yeah.
Trained by ECW guys like Bully Ray and Tommy himself. So that's I always thought that was cool, and for him to say that was cool. But yeah,
that's awesome. That's incredible, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's been a hell of a blessing, especially, and I'm really, really happy for you. That you had having an opportunity during the pandemic. Even though with no crowd, but still, I'm pretty sure you can still just feel like if it's there, see if feel like if the crowd is literally there in your mind and just performing. And I'm telling you this right now myself. I'm really, just by seeing your matches of what I've seen by far, you are going to be a star, definitely, for sure. And you're really killing it right now. This is definitely your 2021, and I really wish them for the best. Wanted to get in very briefly, and I'm pretty sure they will ask the same as well. How did the relationship happen with Global Syndicate? How did it happen with Mr. Brandon Ascari? How did that become in fruition for you competing in Global Syndicate?
Yeah, so Brandon, he shared the story with you guys on the episode that he was on. He was filming for Invictus Pro Wrestling when he first saw me, and I didn't know who he was. But obviously, I introduced myself. I was, who were working the cameras and everything. It was cool because I had no idea who they were, but I was still like, oh, so you guys setting up the hard cam over here? That's cool. How many cameras you have going around the ring? And just, it's one of those things, you have no idea who you're talking with until you find out later. So anyway, he saw me, and then his buddy Jose reached out to me like a week or two later, and then he mentioned the shows coming up for GSW, and so I was like, yeah, let's do it. It was another promotion that's starting. Let's do it. It's exciting. And I didn't know it was going to, blow up to the point where, oh my God, we're working. I started to realize pretty quickly as they started putting the promotional material out, I'm like, oh, they're getting this name, they're getting that name. This is big stuff. And yeah, so that's how it started there with Brandon and the Global Syndicate Wrestling crew. Very cool.
You mentioned that obviously you didn't know who Brandon was when you met him, which paints you as obviously an honest and nice guy, because you're not glad handing someone who is a promoter to network. You were just a nice guy and met some people that coincidentally ended up wanting to promote you. So that's something to be said about like integrity in the business. Getting that gig, I guess I'm from the musician world right now, so I say gig. That match in the pandemic right now. Are you or most of your peers in a spot? Well, they'll take whatever they can. Do some guys pick and choose, or are they just anyone who will call them? They'll take the match if they're paid to do it.
I mean, it's hard to speak for everyone, but like obviously. the first couple months of the pandemic, a lot of promotions weren't running. A lot of independent promotions weren't running. So yeah, I think there was definitely a lot of independent wrestlers out there that were thirsty for some work. And things have picked up over the past few months. So yeah, I think but it's going to be competitive regardless, right? Like, you know, everyone wants to get work, everyone wants to get exposure, and it's just about making the most of your opportunities when you do get them, because to touch on what I said before, you never know who's watching, and yeah, so it's about taking the opportunities that you do get and knocking them out of the park.
I got one kind of coming out of nowhere right here. What's your favorite junk food snack, or your cheat food of the week? Because especially
pasta before the match. You had gallons of pasta before, maybe the night before. Does that hinder you at all? Or
the pasta,
do it like
that's a great carbohydrate for athletes. I know, obviously, like you hear about pasta, it's not the best thing to eat, not the best carb, but honestly, for athletes, that's fuel, and
burn it all up.
Oh yeah, exactly. But best, I could eat cheese, MGC. I could eat all forms of cheese. I could eat that every day. Like when my dad comes home with like a fresh block of Parmigiano Reggiano, we'll start chopping we'll dice that up, and I could eat that straight.
I'm just going right at it. You don't even need it on the carbonara. You're just like, you know.
Exactly.
When real cheese was on my menu, I would go to Whole Foods, and they have like a cheese connoisseur section. I would just grab any two I've heard of and just eat them like you're saying, like brownies, and I would have the worst stomachache. But I'm like, I'm gonna suffer, but I love it so much.
Well, Gio, have you ever just grabbed the whole thing and just took a big bite out of it before? Just like,
yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, I like to shop at Aldi. I don't know if you have the Aldi supermarket.
Yeah, Aldi.
We definitely do. Yeah, Trader Joe's Plus. Yeah,
cheddar. It's not like I'm doing this on a regular basis where I'm eating it like a brownie, like you said, Chris. But
sandwich. Just bite out of the big block.
Cheese bites, bro. I'm about to go do that right now. Thank you.
Oh man. So when the event occurred, I know it was actually a day before the actual pay-per-view event for Global Syndicate Inception, when Brendan Ascari started now introducing the belts. Mm-hmm. And take us through. So when he actually, decided to go ahead and go with you, of giving you the GSW Next Gen Championship.
You won that fair and square.
You did. You did. That's most definitely. But I mean,
bro.
You know what I mean. Well, look. Well, I'm asking basically.
I know. I'm fucking around, brother.
Of course, I'm not gonna take a. Now you see, now you got me out of words, bro. But no, definitely. So, but yes, definitely. I mean, when Brandon actually came up to you, tell you, look, we're gonna put the belt on you. What was your first reaction? What was how'd you feel when you found out that you were gonna win the Next Gen Championship? What was your feelings? What were your thoughts about that?
It was super honored. For someone who, and I could tell pretty quickly from Brandon. I mean, he's an ambitious guy. He dreams big and he does big, and I got a lot of respect for him. And then when he told me that he was gonna put the strap on me, I was super honored, and yeah, I mean, it's what a moment, and then, but as a performer, then it's like, okay, all right, so you start to envision myself with it. What's this gonna be like? What's this gonna feel like? And the excitement started to brew, and yeah, so it was definitely a big moment, and I was excited.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, seeing.
You mentioned you had watched. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. All
right, cool, man. No, you had seen the most recent interview with him, so I'm only repeating this for context. But he had only seen, I believe, your Invictus match, and then he did his best to scrounge up as much footage of you online as possible before he made the decision to move forward with you as, I guess, essentially, I mean, the face of his lighter weight division. And then he also spoke about his 2-year plan. Do you see yourself sticking with GSW for as long as they'll have you, or pastures something that you're looking for as soon as you choose?
So since we're on the topic, and I know we got a lot of listeners and viewers here, I got the gorgeous strap right here.
It's so pretty.
Woo!
Love it.
So as far as I'm concerned, Chris, this is mine. It's not going anywhere. So, you know, I'm going to be with GSW, and but whatever else comes along, awesome. I'm going to tackle that. Like I said, whatever opportunities come my way, I take them.
Longest reigning champion right here, soon to be.
Already, yeah. Pushing like 10 to 15 days, something like that.
Boom, this is it right here. The next gen title. Boom.
I love it.
So,
who do you you don't gotta call anybody out, but do you have in your mind someone set your sights on? I know that he mentioned that he's got the way it works is you got to earn your title shots through going through voltage and then moving your way up to that pay-per-view event, but he's trying to build that division right now. And are you paying attention to it? Is there anyone coming in that you got your target set on?
I'm ready for
maybe a singles match versus either one of your opponents in that three-way.
That'd be great. I mean, I enjoyed working with Smiley and Ricky, and tremendous talents. And so, yeah, it could be them. Could be someone else from the Inception card. I know there's a lot of juicy names on that card. So I mean, I'm ready for anyone. And I'm sure whoever is going to challenge for it, I'm sure they're going to bring their A game, and so will I. Yeah, but it's not just that title either. I mean, there's the heavyweight championship.
Oh yeah, that'll be settled at Catalyst. And then you might be going after whoever wins that, maybe Hammerstone, man. I like the dynamic story between like the Flyer and then the Power guy. Man, those are some of the best stories in wrestling right there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, after Catalyst, we have to see who you challenge between Hammerstone and Dickinson. So I mean, that's gonna be a match right there. I will definitely love to see that title versus title.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, definitely. I wanted to ask as well. So Gio Giovanni is your real name, right? So you shorted just to Gio Galvano. So Galvano is also your last name, correct? Or just that's
Good name. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very nice. That's so rare. You see that nowadays. I want to do a top 5 someday of the top 5 best wrestlers whose names were not changed. They use their birth names in the ring, and the list is short. It's a lot shorter than a lot of people think. And you being able to do that, was that just your decision, or you couldn't find anything better? Not that you don't think your name's awesome or anything like that, but it was just like, that's me. I'm sticking with it.
So, yeah, I tried a couple things. I tried playing with the Giovanni. And then there was one show pretty early on in my career where I used the name Fabio Falcone. Because the Fabio thing, I think with the long hair, it was a catchy name. And so anyway, and it was the first show where I had some friends and family in the crowd. So there was one point in the match where they were chanting Fabio, Fabio. And I'm glad that I went with that name so I could test it out. And when they were chanting that, it didn't feel right. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know if I could walk around and some people calling me Fabio, some people calling me Giovanni. So I thought about it. I was like, I'm Gio. It's short, it's sweet, 2 syllables, easy to say, easy to remember. And that feels right.
I think Fabio in itself kind of paints you as a almost lifelong heel as far as the name goes, because usually when the good-looking long-haired guy, usually of Italian ethnicity, almost Fabio's like a sarcastic bully type. Like, oh, look at Fabio over here. Like it's almost like you're painted as that character almost always. So I think you're using your birth name lets you maneuver a little bit easier between whatever character you want to with conceal your face.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. That is very, very true. And before the pandemic occurred, I know you performed only just very shortly in front of a crowd. You had Was there any no bad experiences at all in front of a crowd, or going on the road? Any funny stories or any bad? I mean, you don't have to no name dropping, but just saying any stories that ever happened.
Well, so on the topic of trial and error, one of the ideas I've had is to play off the pro soccer background, and I had a show in Long Island, New York. It was combined shows, House of Hardcore and Impact, called Digital Destruction. They played it on Twitch, and that show I actually busted through the curtain with a soccer ball. It was the first match out there. It was me versus Wrecking Ball Legursky, and I busted through the curtain with a soccer ball. I was juggling the ball, flipped it up on my head, did a couple tricks, and there was a whole contingent in the other side of the crowd who they did not like soccer, and so a "soccer sucks" chant just emerged immediately.
Jeez.
And I was supposed to be the baby face in the match.
Oh God!
My God.
So that was that whole section definitely not with me. They every time Wrecking Ball slammed me and took me down, they were cheering. But for the rest of the crowd, as the match went on, you know, they got with me, and it was a good match. Me and Wrecking Ball, we faced a couple of times, and you mentioned the big guy, smaller guy dynamic earlier, and every match I've had with him, it's hard hitting, it's the physicality, it's there, and I always enjoy that. So yeah, that was a funny story over in Long Island, New York.
Oh my God!
Fans just laying it into me, but it's part of it, you know. So
Yeah.
and that's trial and error too.
That's how you can tell they don't like MLS for shit. They don't like they don't like MLS at all. I mean, come on, they got a team out there that they're supposed to support their team. And I guess they don't.
Long Island, actually, they have a lot of good talent over there in Long Island. I used to play club ball over there. Good players. But yeah, definitely some feisty people there. Yeah.
All right. So now, what are the goals for Gio Galvano for 2021?
It's continue to take every opportunity that comes my way. I mentioned earlier Northeast Wrestling. They came up earlier, and stay tuned with them because they're planning some big things as this pandemic starts to fizzle out, hopefully. And I'm really excited for the work that I have ahead with them. Invictus Pro Wrestling, which we mentioned earlier, they have some good shows coming up. And I'm actually really excited. There's one in April 24th. It's Invictus in Bloom. And it's the closest show I've had to where I grew up.
Okay, awesome.
I swear, it's only 15 minutes from my house. And every show is like hours away, or like I said earlier, Canada, Nashville, wherever. Like, who knows? It could be anywhere. But this one's close to home, so I'm excited. Sentimental value to me coming out there in front of my peeps. And so that's exciting.
It's such a cool name. It's like you're wrestling for the Roman gladiatorium or something. You know, Invictus.
It really is. And there's
Gio Galvano at Invictus is straight up gladiator style for sure. That's like Maximus.
Yeah, it is. It is straight out Maximus.
It's like the promoter is like.
Like you all the work's been done for them. They just have to, tell you when and who.
Yeah, pretty much.
One thing yeah, go ahead.
Unconquered. That's unconquerable. So it's really, they definitely got the name down pat, and they got some exciting matches on that side, bringing in some good charismatic indie talent. So it's good. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun show for sure. And of course, Global Syndicate Wrestling. Catalyst is coming up in May, and that's super exciting. And then they have some content coming out with High Voltage, with the YouTube show, which you'll of course see the Next Gen champion on. So I'm real excited for what's to come here in the coming months and for the rest of 2021.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward for it.
One thing I wanted to bring up is you've only been wrestling professionally. I mean, I don't know how much into your training life that first match in Canada was, but around 2017 was when that first door opened at House of Hardcore. Is that about right?
Well, that's when I started training at Team 3D, and then a year later was my first match. So and a year in Team 3D is is not even a long time. Like we're taught like to just trust the process, and there's no rush. You know, this business, this art form, as you can imagine, as you guys know, it's like there's so many things you need to learn before you get out there and perform. So it's, you know, we're given the chance to polish up our game as much as possible, and we're put in the best position to succeed. So yeah, it was a year. It was 2018 when I had my first match, and yeah, so it's
perfect. That segues into this question: is in such a short amount of time, the development of your style and being trained by at least the two primary names you dropped, Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray, who are not a reflection of your style at all. Going from that 8-year-old watching, you know, SmackDown to wrestling now and developing your flyer, but you still have a technical thing. You're not just a high flyer. You still have technical fundamentals, but being trained by the hardcore icon and a Dudley Boy who are smash 'em up brawlers. Who's inspired your flying style, and anyone in your camp that you learned that from? Because you said you do have to learn, you know, it's a bunch of chefs in the kitchen making a pasta. Figuring out who you are as a wrestler when you have so many different influences coming down on you.
Yeah, but even though, I mean, you touch on those points, how it's a lot of different influences, a lot of different styles. It's really, the whole thing is building that foundation. And what we're taught is, number one, it's, you want to take the people on an emotional ride. You want to tell a good story in the ring. So even though, yeah, there's some high flying moves, there's a lot of technical moves, some power moves. Yeah, that's all great. But number one is, what's the story you're trying to tell, and how does that story get across? The moves are secondary. It's all about traditional stuff first. So that's honestly the focus. Like, people ask me all the time, like, what's your style? Or I don't give them an answer, because I don't know. It's really just, it depends on who I'm working, when I'm working them, who I'm working in front of, what kind of crowd. Like, all these factors come into play.
That's very similar to songwriting. I put it exactly that way because I'm a guitar player who, there's always this pressure as a musician, and I believe it parallels wrestling almost identically, that as a guitar player, you can choose to be the fastest, shreddiest, Van Halenist guitar player on the planet, and that may cater to other musicians that are like that, but it doesn't serve the song, which is the storytelling in the ring. Because to me, I don't care how fast you can say what you're trying to say. It comes down to what you are saying. And I think that the parallels between the two, it's all about that story. If I'm not invested emotionally, I don't give a shit if you can play 1,000 notes in a second or can do a 750 front frog splash off a balcony. Like, if I don't care if who wins or loses, please don't try that. Don't get any ideas.
That's going to be next pay-per-view, Chris.
Yeah, I think I saw that in Wrestling Society once, and I was like, I don't care about that move. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, you get the groundwork built, but then you develop your own, I guess, your counter style, but you develop your own voice in the ring and your own storytelling.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Chris. That's it right there. That's it.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Do you have high flyer influence though? Or are there guys like, you know, I can name every style of wrestler. Like, there's obviously the HBKs and the AJs. Is there anyone in your gym you look up to for the flashy stuff, or is it just whatever you see, you just like, oh, that's cool, let me try that someday?
I growing up, my older brother, he gave me the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD.
That's a good brother right there.
That was when I was introduced to it, right? So watching that, Sabu always stuck out to me, and so I just loved the way he used the ring. Like, he was like a playground for him, you know, and off any angle, anytime, anywhere. So I always thought that was amazing. Definitely.
Yeah, I love that if he messed something up, he would just do it again. He'd be like round two, like if he would go for the triple jump moonsault in any direction and he would just lose balance, he'd be like, fuck it, I'm gonna try it again. And he would do it like 2 or 3 times before he would nail the damn move. But that was who Sabu was. He was the king of not giving a hell. Obviously in the Philadelphia arena, the crowd loved Sabu enough not to mock him for messing something up. A lot of other guys not as lucky, but yeah, he definitely, that ring was like the third man or fourth man in the ring was the ring itself.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's definitely he's inspired me a lot. And but yeah, I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's really about applying the education and applying that the storytelling to the matches and what what moves help that story. Yeah, that's all great, but the storytelling is number one.
Yeah.
Cool. And just real quick, last thing to remind me of, Brandon does have a film background, and he does put the promo acting as important as the in-ring performance. I do think that either he does some kind of acting class himself, or he has friends that do that for promos. Was that a door that he opened to you, or that he thought you may need at some point? Not to say that you can't promo yourself, but he does have that opportunity available for those who want it. Was that something that you guys discussed?
Yeah, very cool for him to offer that opportunity to the roster. And that, I mean, that's, I mentioned before, taking the opportunities that come your way. When he told us about the acting class that he was letting us do, that he was offering to us, I hopped right on that because, and, it's an opportunity to hone in different emotions. I used that word before, emotions. And it's like, that's one of the things we learned in the class. It's how to channel certain emotions, and it's more practice. It's more reps, because the more reps you get, the more practice you get, the easier it's going to be. And that's one of the things in wrestling is when that red light goes on, you just got to go. You got to be ready. Can't hesitate.
Yeah.
And people notice that, if you hesitate, people feel that. So you got to just be ready. So the more reps, the more practice you get, the better. And yeah, Brandon's given us great opportunity there. Yeah.
Cool. I really can appreciate and respect how open and just hungry you are for information and education. Like, some guys may look at an opportunity like, oh, hey, I have an acting class to help you with your promos. Someone might be like, well, nothing wrong with my promos. I don't need to go to that. Like, I'm sure those people exist. I don't know them by name, but for you to be the opposite of that is super refreshing in a business where it needs talent. And in this pandemic right now, growing talent within it is so hard to do. So I'm really appreciative of how grateful you are for these opportunities. So from a fan's point of view, I love seeing that.
Awesome, Chris. I appreciate that, man. I really do.
For sure.
Matt, what do you got?
No,
Matt,
I was.
you can ask him about something off.
I'm gonna do a little bit of both, because I was just saying what he was, because Sting later on in his career, he wasn't really known for like promos too much during his first run, but it wasn't until that TNA run that he started developing those characters and that humor, and so there's no such thing as like my promos are already good. There's always the learning never ends and the improvement never ends. But well, when it comes to inspirational things. Here's something out of nowhere. What cartoons do you enjoy?
There you go.
Oh, that's a good one. You know what? It was like high school where I got introduced to the regular show.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Mordecai and Rigby.
Mordecai and Rigby.
I don't know how Matt nails these out. Like, Matt's always like, I've got an like off-topic question. And I'm like, what is it going to be? And then he just fucking nails it sometimes. I mean, all the time, every time, not sometimes. He'll ask something. I'm like, how did you know that C.W. Anderson used to breakdance?
I didn't.
And he asked him that question. He's like, actually, I used to beatbox and breakdance. And I'm like, what the fuck's happening right now?
Well, I'm a big fan. I like regular show. Did you watch the movie too, or?
I haven't seen the movie, no.
It's pretty good. It's insane. It's like time traveling. Wait a minute. Do you
No
prefer?
spoilers. No spoilers.
Which one do you prefer though, Mordecai or Rigby, out of the two guys?
Oh, Mordecai.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned animated movies. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was tremendous. That movie.
Yeah, for sure.
See, that could probably influence some high flying style. Like next thing, you could do a moonsault off the wall, and you got the sticky hands.
Kids today, and I mean kids today because I'm 37, and so when I'm still a kid, but essentially my age. There's your generation of wrestlers are not just watching wrestling for ideas. They're watching video games. They're watching action films. I think Street Profits mentioned that they were watching a Spider-Man movie once and came up with a spot based off of that. So the influences that people are pulling from now are so out of this world and wild and applicable because you guys essentially are a live action stunt show or a real life video game. So I don't see any reason this whole time people weren't pulling from those medias.
An interesting point, Chris. And that's something that we've touched on at my school, just because the business has evolved. You look 20, 30 years ago, the people getting into the business, they were all former athletes. And even the fans watching it, 20 years ago, it was like, I guess like just like your typical dude, was watching wrestling. But now it's like you said, that whole spread. It's like a smorgasbord of different flavors. It's like, yeah, you got your video game crowd, you got your comic book crowd, you got your athletes, sports crowd. Like it's just a mix of a lot of different
Yeah,
flavors.
I remember. I think someone corrected me on who it was, but like the Miz and maybe Seth Rollins or something pulled straight up a spot out of the Anderson Silva Chael Sonnen UFC fight in the rematch, where Chael went for a spinning back fist, he missed, landed on his ass, and took a knee to the face, like the one he finished the match with. And as soon as I saw that on Raw, I'm like, oh, that just happened in a UFC event on Saturday. They're not fooling anybody. But the fact that they were looking for that for influence was super refreshing. I'm just like, finally, they're fucking like pulling shit off. Like, Taker's doing the Gogo Plata. Brock obviously is an MMA fighter, but he's doing Kimuras. CM Punk's whole stick was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He did the Vanderlei Silva wrist roll. So pulling it from just not within its own business is a cool dimension to see things go.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely. Let me ask you a question. Have you been watching right now the product as of late, like AEW, New Japan, WWE, NXT? If there was, I know this is another redundant question, I'm pretty sure, but just out of curiosity, I've been seeing those promotions right now, and also as Impact as well. Ring of Honor, I can mention there's so many. But if the opportunity was there, where would you? Where would you actually decide?
Like a dream booking, I guess. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
you put it up. Yeah.
I'm gonna go where the money is. That's it right there. So and that the cool thing is there are so many avenues, and competition brings out the best people. So, but yeah, that's my answer to that question. It's
Definitely.
Now,
if you could book a dream match. Against who and where?
Past or present?
It could be either one, however you like.
Oh man, maybe do you have like a fantasy booking and then like something that could happen? Maybe one of each.
Well, the thing was, growing up, my favorite guy was Edge. So to see Edge come back and all the amazing stuff he's doing, I got goosebumps just thinking about it. Like if I, WrestleMania match with Edge, like that's it right there.
Fuck yeah.
Not impossible. Not impossible.
I don't think he's gonna retire anytime sooner again.
Oh, dude, that guy looks best shape of his life.
He got another 5-6 years going for him for sure.
Gio, if I controlled the entire wrestling industry, I'd put you in a Hell in a Cell match with Edge tomorrow. That's I'd put you as like, well, guess what? You got Hell in the Cell, and both of you guys are getting color. So.
Yeah, 6 weeks to get to wherever they're holding WrestleMania this year. I don't know if it's Texas or not, but yeah, that's awesome.
In at the top of the Sears Tower, Hell in the Cell, and you guys are both getting color.
That's a good idea. I don't think the Sears Tower has the room for it, but fuck yeah, bro.
It'll be hanging from a chin hook helicopter, and it's you versus Edge.
And there's a belt hanging from the helicopter too.
The winner has to they have to fly the helicopter back to the landing pad.
And what was those parachute wing things? So the winner gets the parachute wings, and you guys have to fly down to the
dude, bro. This is writing itself.
A lot of writing, a lot of booking. You guys.
Somebody call H right now. Pull up John Paul Levay and just get this handled.
They've got the money for it.
Now, another one. I'm curious to know your favorite that you can eat every day Italian dish.
Oh, sick.
Oh man, I'm gonna name a dish that you don't know, because it's when I was there in Italy, I spent most of my time up north near Milan, Lombardy region. They have this dish called pizzoccheri, and it's like this dark grain pasta, and it's got potatoes in it, and they they grate up cheese and they melt it all together. So it's like potatoes and this dark.
Can you spell that for me? Because I'm gonna Google a recipe for that.
Same.
Like we're not.
I found it. Pizza.
Okay, send it in the DMs. We got a private.
It's a buckwheat pasta, according to this. Pizza curry.
Yeah, there you go. That's the technical term. If you're curious, the spelling is Pizzoccheri. Pizzoccheri.
Oh, I was way off. I had Pizza Oki, which is a restaurant that Steve Aoki runs by my house. Oh fuck yeah, that looks good.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Oh my god, that does look delicious. Oh my god.
I think that's the first time we've asked anybody what like their favorite like daily meal would be. Man,
well, that's me who usually asked it. So
the reason why I ask, obviously, because you have the Italy flag, and I know that you're background, so that's the culture from Italy. Please, oh my god. I mean, I want to hear from you because I think I don't know if I ever asked, but please tell me Olive Garden. Tell me
what the Jersey Shore of
not for me
of Italian food.
Olive Garden's not real.
No, that's your McDonald's.
He might actually like Olive Garden. Let him speak.
Take it for what it is, right? Like I'm not. If you walk into Olive Garden expecting authentic Italian cuisine, then you're not thinking straight. You got.
It's like P.F. Chang's and Chinese food.
Yeah, or even pizza, right? Like it's funny. I had this conversation with Wrecking Ball Ogursky, and because I don't hate on Pizza Hut or Domino's or Olive Garden because you take it for what it is, and if you're in the mood for that, it's tasty. If you know what you're eating, it's tasty. So it's good flavors, good stuff.
But don't confuse it for the real stuff.
I'm not gonna hate on it.
I'm with you on that, man, because I'm like, I don't know, Olive Garden to me is like the McDonald's of Italy, for America.
Yeah, but they kind of advertise it as such as well,
you know how it is. Always gonna make it look good in the commercials when you get there.
Yeah, for sure. It's like Sbarro's, which is like the actual the only fast food Italian place I can think of.
Gio, I got one out of nowhere, Ray, coming at you. Have you ever heard some K-pop? I mean, have you ever listened to K-pop before?
I have listened. I mean, I don't know any artists, but I've listened to it. I enjoy it. I played soccer with a lot of Korean people. There's a whole population over here, a few minutes from my house. I used to go every Sunday morning. I'd hit the field at 7:30 with these Korean guys, and so I've been around it.
Yeah, they don't call it a World Cup for no reason. You got the world coming to that cup.
Oh yeah. That's the beautiful thing about the sport. So anyway, yeah, I've heard some K-pop.
It's like the Red Devils team. I think is that the national team where it's like all like red horns and everything. Like it's Olay no matter what country you're in.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Wait. All right. Besides, so who is? I mean, I know you're wearing a jersey, but I apologize. You have to correct me. Is that jersey looks familiar, but I don't want to talk out of my ass. I just tell me what that team is because I'm looking at it.
The team in England. It's my favorite English club. It's Aston Villa.
Okay.
Jack is one of the futures of the game. Talk about the next gen champion. He wears the next gen soccer players on his back. Mr. Jack Grealish.
Oh, okay. All right.
Any soccer fans watching, they should know who he is. He's going to be soon to be legend. Anyway, yeah, Aston Villa.
Okay, Aston. Okay. And what do you prefer? I mean, I know you prefer all the leagues, but which was like, besides the English league, what other ones do you like to that you really would love to just you're able to sit down and have nobody interrupt you? Just you're sitting down watching the league. Well,
it's going to be the Premier League, the Italian League, the Serie A, and I know Ivan, you like the Champions League. So and for those listening, and we're speaking like Mandarin right now.
A little bit. I'm aware of soccer. I know it exists, but I'm an MMA guy. So
I used to play too, so I wouldn't.
Because it's the best teams from every country in Europe together, and it's a continental showcase. And,
it's EU. It's the EU team, basically, right?
It's like, so the best team from Italy the best team from Germany, the best team from England, the best team from France, the best team from Portugal, the best team from Czech Republic. Like, everyone's coming together in this tournament. It's the best of the best. And then when it gets to like the knockout rounds, and it gets intense. And it's cool too, because we talk about mixed cultures. Like, you'll see they'll play one game in one home stadium, and then they'll go to the other team's home stadium. So you get these two different environments, two different cultures, and they clash, and it's exciting.
Oh, it is. It is definitely exciting. I can't wait. I cannot wait. You know?
Go!
As you can see, like we're different, varieties here on Circle of Faith.
Oh yeah.
But before we let you go, Mr. Galvano, I want to appreciate you very much for joining us. It was an honor, honestly. It was, and I'm really happy to have you on the show. Hopefully, we can have you again. We'll do one of these top fives with us. And I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to see what's next in the future for you.
Yeah, we first heard about you just before we had Brandon Ascari on the first time, I think in January. He had mentioned your name, kind of brought you up in passing. Who I don't know if you were booked at the time. I think he might have just name dropped you as like a future talent. But we've literally been waiting for this interview since the beginning of the year, and for it to finally happen. I'm excited for a follow-up, 3 to 6 months, less than that, whatever happens, man. We can't wait to see where this awesome journey so far. I mean, you're
heavyweight champion. Heavyweight.
There you go. Heavyweight champion.
Heavyweight champion.
So yeah.
Sorry, excuse me.
Whatever the next interview we have, we can't wait to see where you are at that time.
The pleasure and honor is all mine, guys. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, let's do this again.
Definitely.
Heavyweight champion. My championship allergies, right now.
I love that. I love how you put it. Definitely. Now, before we let you go, I just apologize, Mr. Galvano. If you can let the viewers and subscribers know, where can they locate you? Where can they find you on the social media platforms?
So yeah, if you go on Instagram, type in Gio _Galvano, GALVANO. You'll find me on there. If you go on Twitter, it's the Gio _official, but spell the official with a 0 and as the O, and then you'll find me right on the Twitter. So yeah, that's how you can find me.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I want to once again thank you, Mr. Gio Galvano, for joining us today. And yes, all the social media platforms will be below the description, so make sure you follow him and keep an eye on Gio, because he's doing upcoming things that you would not expect, and a future heavyweight champ. Because he is definitely going to challenge you to the winner of Chris Dickinson and Alex Hammer.
We're friends with Brandon, so we can make that happen. I don't know if you know, we got a thing going on, so we might be able to put your word on that.
Yeah, we're going to be pushing it for sure. We're already close with Brandon. I know he's going to be watching this too, knowing him. So he's going to be like, what are you guys saying that for? He's going to message me back for sure. But yes, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.